Now I'm going to talk about family members. Most people have a family consideration in play if they're thinking about immigration status in Hong Kong. So what immigration opportunities are available for accompanying family members? Well, assuming that you can get a principal residence visa, and that's a business investment visa, or a quality migrant admission scheme visa, or a capital investment entrance scheme visa, or an employment visa, and to a degree also a training visa, you can make an application at the same time for your family members to accompany you and take up residence in Hong Kong. Now, the way the Immigration Department define family for the purposes of this visa type is heterosexual, legally married couples and unmarried dependent children or otherwise in full-time education. And as long as the principal sponsor can show that they can put a roof over the head of their accompanying family members and food on the table of their accompanying family members, and that the relationship is legal and genuine, then dependent visas are issued almost automatically, as a matter of course. The problem comes as to if you don't have that kind of traditional family relationship. Let's say you are life partners, heterosexual life partners. What do you do in that situation? Well, you can't get dependent visas, and whilst the approvability criteria for a de facto spouse couple in this instance is exactly the same as if you were a married couple, the only visa type that you can get is a prolonged visitor visa. And the prolonged visitor visa is exactly the same visa that you get when you arrive at the airport as a visitor. It's just that the Immigration Department have pre-assessed the relationship bona fides. They are convinced that the relationship is genuine. They are satisfied that the sponsor can properly support their dependents. And if at the end of that exercise, that determination exercise by the Immigration Department, they're satisfied that the bona fides are in place for the grant of a prolonged visitor visa, you get the prolonged visitor visa for 6 months. No, not questions asked, 6 months. When you come and go, it means that your status over those 6 months is maintained. And at the end of 6 months, you go back to the Immigration Department and you seek an extension for another 6 months. It's usually a 4 or 5 hour waiting exercise down at the Immigration Department to get your extension. But then you can almost bank on the extension as long as the relationship remains a solid relationship. But here's the problem. A prolonged visitor visa is what I call a slippers and pipe visa. Because effectively the only things that you can do under the prolonged visitor visa is wait for your husband, your partner, to come home every night and hand him his slippers and his pipe, because you can't do anything else. You can't take up employment, you can't join in a business, you can't study, you can't do anything other than, as I say, that and perhaps paint pictures of the harbour. So it keeps the family members together, but unfortunately it doesn't actually avail any kind of ability to do anything meaningful or practical in Hong Kong. So that's the situation when you're dealing with heterosexual partners who are unmarried. Same-sex partners face exactly the same challenges as the unmarried heterosexual partners. The conditions for approval are just as onerous. There needs to be clear documented prior cohabitation, ostensibly before the sponsor originally arrived in Hong Kong, and that the partner is clearly joining his partner or her partner here, so that they continue their same family unit. But otherwise it's exactly the same for heterosexual partners as it is for same-sex partners. And even though you can come as same-sex partners into an application for a prolonged visitor visa with a civil union celebrated in another jurisdiction or a legal marriage celebrated in another jurisdiction, these documents don't turn that scenario from an immigration perspective into a dependent visa situation from a prolonged visitor visa situation. And it's a shame really, because if you do get a dependent visa, the approvals that you get allow you to basically do anything carte blanche here. And it's ironic because it may be that your partner, rather let's say your partner, who's the principal visa holder, has had to work really hard for his employment visa or her employment visa or his investment visa or her investment visa, and finally fall over the line, get the approval, and the dependent then gets the dependent visa. Whereas the principal visa holder is constrained to doing that particular business for that or that particular work for that nominated employer. The dependent visa holder can go off into society and work for anybody and do anything, part-time, full-time, unpaid, paid. There's no conditions attached at all to the dependent visa. So as I say, it's ironic that the dependent visa holder is actually empowered to do more than the principal employment visa or in business investment visa holder themselves.